Hello, all. Um, it is with great pleasure and sadness that I announce this is the final episode of the Will Bear Show with Will Bear for this season. Um, and I thank y'all for hanging with me most of the way here. Um, and I am glad to do this one more time and then pack it up until maybe March Madness, maybe definitely next year. But wow, we blew through a whole season of fantasy football. Like that is crazy. Felt like yesterday when I was drafting Austin Eckler and had such high expectations. What a few months will do to a person. Anyway, we did have our championship game and some big games go down this past weekend. So let's go ahead and jump into them, shall we? As you would think, we will start off with the championship game. And boy, oh boy, an interesting game for sure it was. We had DIDI's Yellowstone Bisons taking on Nini Lightning Lady in the finale, and the final score was DIDI 229 to Nini 200. So our champion for this season is DIDI. Congratulations. Josh Allen played very well, DIDI, as he has this whole year. And you got the win despite not having Christian McCaffrey. As for Nini, CeeDee Lamb did throw 36 on the board. However, you started Pat Mahomes and Alvin Kamara, who did not play in Week 18, and a devastating loss ensued this blunder. An unfortunate end to the season for Nini, but silver is a lot better than 6 of the other spots. So, congrats to both of y'all, but especially congrats to DIDI for a huge victory this year, his second championship all time in fantasy football. Congratulations, congrats. Otherwise, we had the fight for the number 1 pick. Barry, strongest of wills, took on the big guy, hooked on a Thielen. Final score on that one, 296, Barry, to 215, B3. So a humongous victory for Barry. And you have been awarded the number 1 pick. Congratulations, big guy. You will get the 2nd pick next year. So a very successful playoff for both of those teams. The fight for the number 3 pick was my Raiders of the Lost Yard taking on Porter's Ingram Toenails. Final score on that one, 231 to 221. So I will get the 3 pick. Porter will get the 4 pick. Fun fact, I'm 4-1 all time against Porter Ward. Just he cannot figure out how to get up that hill. It's too bad, really. And finally, the fight for the number 5 pick was Mason Ray Rice Elevator Service taking on Mom's Dixie Chicks, and this was a pretty big victory for Mom, 288 to 233. Despite Justin Jefferson being back, Mason had a very disappointing playoff run, I will say. But there you have it, folks. Our final standings for the year. Coming in first place is, of course, DIDI, followed by Nini, then Mom and Mason at 3 and 4, Barry at 5, Big Guy at 6, I'm at 7, dadgummit, and 8th is Porter Ward, who, rough season. So that means I lost our bet to Mason. Whatever, we'll cover that in another episode. And our draft order for next year, getting the first pick, sort of just restating, the first pick next year will go to Barry, then to the big guy. I go 3rd, and Porter is 4th. The 5 pick goes to Mom. 6th pick is Mason, then Nini and DIDI at 7 and 8. So, congrats to everyone on another successful season, I would say. In addition to just announcing who our champion was this year, every year I go through and I give everyone a team MVP, their best pick in the draft that took place months ago, and their worst pick in the draft. And I also have a couple yearly awards to hand out after that. So normally Week 18 is a decently longer episode, but I think it's worth it, especially since I have been neglecting this show for December. So, All right, let's start it off with me because no one else likes to go first. So I will go first. My team MVP this year was Kyron Williams. Cooper Kupp was a close second. But Kyron Williams really boosted my run game when I didn't really have many good running backs, i.e. Austin Eckler. My best pick would be Mike Evans, taken in round 11, and he turned out to be a star this year. And kind of going hand in hand with what I said earlier, my worst pick would be Austin Eckler, who truly was a franchise wrecker, and not in a good way. Next up, we'll go with Mason, because why not? Ray Rice Elevator Service. Team MVP, I went a little rogue here with Sam Laporta, Lions tight end. Humongous pickup as he was definitely a top 5 tight end fantasy-wise this year, and your team actually rebounded really well with him in and not having Justin Jefferson. Best pick, Jonathan Taylor, taken in round 12, was a beautiful pick, despite him being injured for the first part of the year. Your worst pick was Dameon Pierce, taken in round 5, who really didn't see the field at all, and yeah, just did not work out. Next up, we'll go to Mom, Dixie Chicks. Team MVP, TJ Hawkinson. I think that makes a lot of sense. He was very solid for the majority of the year. Your best pick would be Dak Prescott, who had MVP arguments for most of the year, taken in round 9, and he stepped up big when Kirk Cousins got hurt. And I trashed it at the beginning of the year, I admit, but he was solid. I could not find a worst pick for your team, though. All of your picks seemed to be outstanding, and we may or may not have a yearly award for that, so we'll get back to that. Next up, the big guy, hooked on a Thielen. Team MVP, Jalen Hurts. Unbelievable. He was unbelievable all year. Your best pick was A.J. Brown in round 3, and he was so good, he honestly could have been a round 1 pick, looking back on the draft now. So yeah, absolutely awesome. Your worst pick, it wasn't a horrible pick, but the fact that you took this person in round 4 makes it a really bad pick. Najee Harris in round 4 was a reach and a half. And almost tied with that was Justin Tucker in round 5 and the Steelers defense in round 6. So I had a tough time deciding on that one. Next up, Nene, Lightning Lady, Team MVP. Really no other option than CeeDee Lamb. Was the most explosive wide receiver in my eyes this year with the Cowboys. Your best pick was round 12, taking Isaiah Pacheco, the Kansas City running back, and he was phenomenal. Outstanding pick. And your worst pick would be Aaron Jones in round 5. Same sort of deal with what I said about Mason earlier. Never really had a big week from him, and yeah, he sat on the bench for the majority of the year. Next up, our champion, DIDI's Yellowstone Bisons. Team MVP, Christian McCaffrey. And that should go out as the league MVP. McCaffrey carried the whole season. He was phenomenal. And yeah, that was the easiest pick I had to make this entire episode. Your best pick, Keenan Allen, taken in round 5. Despite him being hurt later down the stretch, he was absolutely phenomenal all year. Congrats on that pick. Your worst pick was Jalen Waddle, taken in round 4. Not that he had a horrible year, but it surely was disappointing from a fantasy standpoint, and definitely not worth a round 4 pick. Porter Ward, Ingram Toenails, Team MVP Tyreek Hill, had a CeeDee Lamb-esque season. Very phenomenal. Best pick, James Cook in round 7. He had a great year at running back for the Bills. Little Georgia boy. Had to throw him out there. Worst pick, I went with Darren Waller, taken in round 5, who was all right, but I think he was the 3rd or 4th tight end taken off the board, and he finished outside the top 20 in tight end ratings, so that was definitely not worth the round 5 pick. And last but not least, the newcomer this year, Will Berry, Team MVP Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was outstanding. He really didn't have a bad week the whole year. A consistent 15 to 20 points and sometimes 30. It was awesome. Best pick, Evan Engram, tight end for Jacksonville, taken in round 7, and he was a top 5 tight end, especially down the stretch. He was phenomenal this season. Worst pick, J.K. Dobbins in round 9. And this is a tough one because it's round 9, but Dobbins, I think, maybe played 1 or 2 games this year and once again got hurt and was out of it forever. So that's all I got for that. On to yearly awards. All right, so I think I have 9 yearly awards to give out, I think, which is pretty on par for what we've done the past few years. First and foremost, our first yearly award is called Squad Goals, and this is for the team with the best overall draft. And frankly, there were a lot of teams that I could have given this one out to, but I would like to show Mason some love. He had some really great talent on his opening week roster. When you look at even Breece Hall, who he cut, which was unfortunate for him, ended up on the big guys team, but he had a phenomenal week 1 roster, so I am electing to give the Squad Goals award to Mason. The next award being No Duds Please, the least number of bad picks in the draft, and that one goes to Mom, whose only bad pick I can even see is Nick Chubb in round 2, but he got hurt in the second week of the season. So, even that was just unfortunate. So, Mom, absolutely outstanding job in this past draft. No duds. None taken. The Exchangeogram Award, the best or most influential trade. And there was only one, so me and Mason will take this one home. Funny enough, the award has gone out to either me and someone else or Mason and someone else. So this makes very much sense in year 3. Let's see, what do we have next? We have the Platinum Chainsaw, most accumulated golden chainsaws throughout the year. And that goes to DIDI, who racked up, how many was it? How many golden chainsaws did you rack up? Oh, 4. 4 golden chainsaws this year. So congrats, DIDI. You now have the Platinum Chainsaw to go along with all your golden chainsaws and now the fantasy trophy. So congrats, DIDI. This next one is always going to be a little controversial. It is the Manager of the Year award. It is math-based. It is not opinion-based. It's the most effective job of choosing your starters week in and week out. So how close were you to getting your own perfect lineup every week? And accumulating 89% of his possible season perfect score is Will Barry. So I will have to hand out the Manager of the Year award to Barry. Congratulations, sir. An outstanding first year as your manager in this league. You certainly lived up to the hype, I would say. Highway Robbery, the steal of the draft. I did not mention this person earlier for your best or worst pick, but this goes out to Porter Ward, who took David Njoku in round 14. There are 16 rounds in the draft, and Njoku ended up being a top 5 tight end. And an absolute, wow. He sniped him. Great job, Porter. Steal of the draft. That goes, great job. Captain Consistent. This goes to the person who had the fewest weeks scoring under 100 points. And with only 1 week under triple digits, Nini gets the Captain Consistent award. Congratulations. And Nini, second place this year. You had a phenomenal season. Cannot wait to see what you cook up next year. The Uphill Battle, 2 more awards to go. The Uphill Battle goes to the hardest schedule, aka there's this stat on the app that is what points you have allowed. So what teams have scored against you. There's obviously stipulations and differences in that one. So the team that had the most points scored against them this year is Porter Ward. And that makes a lot of sense given he finished last in the league, got crushed a couple times by my team, and it's okay, Porter. It's okay. Uphill Battle Award, you get a shout out for Yeah, for that. Finally, we have the Pac-12 award. Kind of goes in tandem with the previous one. The easiest schedule, the fewest points against. So teams tended to do a little bit worse against you than, let's say, Porter. And this goes to Mom, who had roughly 300 or 400 points scored less than Porter did. It's an incredible stat, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised. But Pac-12 award goes to Mom. Easiest schedule. And that wraps us up, I think. Until next year, of course. Um I know the playoffs, the NFL playoffs are rolling right now. We just finished the college football playoff, that whole thing. Nick Saban retired. Woohoo! So I hope y'all enjoy the playoffs. Go Steelers. And yeah, until March. Until March, hopefully. I will see y'all next time.